Welcome to Thick Thigh Thursday. Hi, everybody. It is Thick Thigh Thursday. Every Thursday, I come to you live. Sometimes I have a guest, sometimes it's just little old me. And today, it is me by myself. And I don't mean to say I don't mean to play myself small. I am just acknowledging the fact that today, your girl is tired. Like today, that's a whole thing. Um, I've had a great day. Like it's been fantastic, but it has been so busy. Like just very overall very consistent with things to do, conversations to have, work to do, things that need to get checked off the work list, etc., etc. And like days like this are hard to find the space for yourself, right? But these are also days that remind me about why I do what I do. Remind me why I talk about these things. Remind me why I believe that this is important, right? So I'm working on some things behind the scenes that I will not divulge as of yet. However, I'm working with a friend of mine and I already figured it out when I was working on the Thailand retreat that I dropped this week, right, or last weekend, I should say, right. When I was working on Thailand, I was working with a friend of mine. I am working with a friend of mine for this, right. Her name is Danica. She is a therapist. She is trained. She is licensed, and she's well traveled. And I have known her since middle school, right. And um the way that we got to work together and like connect with each other again was fantastic. And for this new project that I'm working on, it's another friend, an internet friend of mine. I did an interview on her podcast literally a few years ago. Um, and now she's like, "Hey, Seisha, do you want to work on this together?" And blah blah blah. So we're having these conversations, and I'm just getting to know her so much better, and that's so much fun. And these are other like fellow Black women in wellness that I'm getting to work with and have these conversations with, and I love to inhabit these spaces. Your attitude and energy seems on point. Well, thank you. You know, I so I will say this. I feel like yes, the resilience I am used to this. Like I'm used to working the hard days and doing too much and like having all these things done. And like I was just explaining to Clyde the other day, like I used to teach Algebra 1, ninth period to special ed kids. I could talk to anybody anytime about anything. Like ninth period, they're not having it. This is already hard for them. This is math. They're all like, this is my license. It was a rough life. So like if I could make it through that and like actually had a good relationship with those kids, I can do this. I can do this any day. Now, on the other side of that, right? That's kind of what I wanted to speak to today. Like exhaustion and not really exhaustion. What am I really? I guess setting the boundary before you get to exhaustion, but being consistent. That's hard. That's really hard. That is really hard to do. So if you find yourself struggling with the concept of that kind of balance, it makes sense. It is difficult to do. And I'm not going to give you all the answers, but I am going to talk to you about it a little bit. Just like remembering your the boundaries that you've put in place, they are for your own good. Sometimes we see our boundaries when we set those things up and we set up those walls. It's like, oh dang, like but I want to do this. I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to really be consistent. I don't want I don't want to stick to these things, right? I actually I want to live in a space where I'm not constantly struggling. So I don't want to set myself up in a way that like, yeah, I'm going to make it through no matter what. No, I'm going to pour into myself no matter what. I think that that's more important for me. I think that that's more important altogether as an understanding. Like I need to respect that there is that there is energy required of me, that yes, other people need things from me, but also I need things from me. I need to participate in my own life. I need to show up for whether it's work, whether it's school, whether it's my family, whether it's like whatever my responsibilities are. It's not just a list of things to do. This is the life you live. So, on the other side of that, what are the things that make your life full? Are they in these places too? They're probably with your family. They're probably with your friends. They're probably with your travels. They're probably with your health and well being, right? Like, yes, the responsibility to take care of yourself and to do these things, it feels like a lot, but it is needed. It's a necessity um, in order to have the good happen, right? And I think that that's like a mindset that we just kind of talk ourselves into. We talk ourselves into the bad all the time. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the gifts, the badges, all of that. I appreciate you so much. If something that I've said resonates with you, share it. That's all I ever ask. And then anything else is just appreciated. Thank you. Um, as I was saying, right? So to address the needs, to address our needs, to address what it is that we are not only just required, again, to fill yourself up, to build your energy. Sometimes that means stopping and getting on the mat and doing yoga, sure. Sometimes it just means stopping and taking a breath. We just kind of rush. We rush through, roll through all the things that we have to do, check, 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 right? And then like when we accept things that are not on our schedule, um, that is when we end up pouring out too much, right? Thank you for being here. Um, that is when we end up messing up what it is that we have to do, right? So, what do I mean by that? My schedule today, right? I had a meeting on Tuesday that continued on Tuesday, and like I said, I'm working with my friend. It's great. We're having a conversation. We were gathering stuff, and then it was like, all right, time to go. We got to move on. We got to do stuff. Yesterday was different. We didn't have anything scheduled, and then today we were like, all right, well, I'm free after this time, so let's do it. Did that, forgetting that I had an appointment for an interview. And like, so I was going to have to speak on purpose about the things like I do right now, right? Like I do on Thursdays. So this is where my struggle came in. I right now, I right before this live, I was like, oh, I don't think I have the words. Um, like, and I mean that with like as much love for what I do as I can muster, right? Like I do love it. I do love having these conversations. But I feel like some people believe that it's just so easy to do. It's just, of course, every time. No, I'm quite a bit tired right now. But I also was very sure that I wanted to convey this message. I honestly wanted to convey it in this state and say, you know what? This is where I did not keep that boundary set for myself. And because of it, I am so tired. I want to be the living lesson. I want to be real with you and I want to be honest with you. Has this devastated me? Absolutely not. Has this made me has this made it impossible for me to complete the things that I have to do today? No, because I wouldn't have taken it on if it was in the way of something. However, now I come to this space at the towards the end of my day, right? For me on the East Coast is my evening. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I've been talking all day. And I remember this feeling from teaching. And sometimes I question even how did I do that? How did I teach all day and then teach my classes? Like I taught yoga like 3 nights a week after work, like a crazy person. Anyway, um, just to show you the passion that I have for it, right? Uh, but I um I really had all of these words. I really said all of this stuff. I really like had to go through all of these places to like to get to here, right? Like I had to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to part of it is pushing through, part of it is doing the work, part of it is just yes, I've got to get my feet wet here. I've got to get the practice in. I've got to keep going. And then now to come to a different place in my life to kind of shift that and to say, okay, yes, I have paid these dues. I have done this work. I have talked about these things. And then say, okay, so now that I've learned my lesson, I can be better to myself than I was at that point in time. This isn't a matter of now I'm being like fake or uppity or bougie or whatever. I mean, I've always been bougie. I'm from Queens, whatever. But like, just this is not too much. I'm not doing too much. I'm not being soft or being too soft, too sensitive. I am making sure that I get what I need to out of every single day. I am pouring into myself enough to make sure that I have more to give out, right? I have more to pour out into my clients, into my audience, into the my family, right? The people that I need to work with, the projects that I want to build and I'm creating and I'm working on, and the things that I have coming. Like, I have to make sure I have the energy for that. And if I don't, now everything is going to lose quality, right? And so I have a lot of conversations. I've had conversations several times with my coaching clients where they're like, as they, especially like right in the beginning, and they start and they're like, yeah, I feel like I'm doing the things, I'm doing the self-care things. Like, I take a bath and I do yoga and I will go to the gym, or I go out by the lake and whatever. Like, I'll do my reflection, my journal time, but I feel like it's just not hitting. And like, it's not hitting because it doesn't have value to you. You're doing it as a checklist item. You're not doing it as with intention or something to pour back into yourself. And there may be a blockage there. There's something that you're not quite processing. There's something that you don't really understand. That's something that's holding you back, which is why having the open conversations is very helpful and is much more helpful than trying to just navigate this space on your own. That's how coaching works. But when we have these conversations and we talk about what it is that we actually need and what helps us work, this is to make us work better. And let me say this: better does not necessarily mean more efficient. It just means higher quality. And personally, I'll take quality over quantity anytime. That's just me. Right. So if that's not a way that you feel and you are in a space where like sometimes honestly you need to be in the hustle, go, push, earn it, do it mindset. Like, if that's where you're at, I'm not telling you to stop. If that feels right for you, if that's what you need, but just remember the difference between hustling and burning yourself out. Are you pushing to the point where you are really just churning out? It's going so well. You're just really creating and really working, like, more power to you. But if you're actually not in that space and you're just kind of like, I feel dead about this. I feel like I'm really giving out nothing. I'm just copying and pasting, and it's not really providing anything for me or for my audience or for my clientele or whatever it is that you're doing. You got to take a breath. You got to stop. These are the times where, like, it depends on what your life is like, right? It depends on if that means this is the time for you to actually stop and meditate, read a new book, take something in quietly, process. Maybe it's time for something bigger. You want to book a retreat, like one to Thailand or Bali next year with me in March or April. Link in my bio up here. Up here. um, or somewhere in between. Maybe it's just, yes, I need to get into a class. I need to get into a routine, right? I need to do these things. No matter what it is, it's something where you need to reset, and it is a time for you to find some consistency. The sooner you figure out what fills your cup, the fastest, the easiest, the best, and with the most quality, right? With the highest quality filling of your cup, the better you will be able to navigate any further space, because you will be fuller. You will not be burnt out in that space. You will not be burnt out. And anytime you feel it coming, you immediately know what to do to fix that, no matter what that is for you, right? So again, maybe it is that quiet reflection time. Maybe it is meditation. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's coloring. Maybe it's putting your headphones on and just dancing or singing at the top of your lungs. Maybe maybe it's something simple that you can just go do. And maybe it really is like, no, it is actually time for a couple of days off. It is actually time for a vacation. It is actually time to get up out of here, or just shift in my space. Maybe it's a staycation. Maybe it's just a big difference. You need like a genuine shift in your setting. right? Because if you can't change what's happening here, then you can't change what's happening here. If that's the space that you're in, then you need to change what's happening outside. You need to change where you are, what you're looking at, what your stimulus is. And sometimes that means cleaning your space, right? If depression gets you and your space is just kind of gross and it's like, oh, this is nasty, and like that gets you down. I get it. When you are depressed and you get messy, then it just gets harder. It's like, oh, but I can't even see the floor now, and I can't do this, so I might as well do that. And don't have this, and this pile of clothes is clean, and this pile of clothes, it just piles up until you can't see the floor. It's time to see the floor, baby. It's time to get up. It's time to make some space. Because the only thing that's going to do is make it worse. It's the same thing when we speak to ourselves negatively. If you do something wrong and you make a mistake and you just kind of give yourself a hard time, like you could say something bad, but then if you keep going, I'm so stupid, I'm so this, I'm so that. When you keep talking like that and you keep giving yourself that kind of in that feedback and you're telling yourself this, you are only taking that in. You are only learning that that's how bad you are. That's the problem. You are this, you're stupid, you're whatever. Like, I can't do this, I can't do that. Thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you for the roses. Thank you for the all your contributions. I appreciate you. And thank you for your comments. Let me get back to these comments up here. I'm working on my certification, but I'm so afraid to teach. Help. Well, and that, I guess that's a good way back to bring me back to the point of what I was saying, right? There are things that you want to do. There are things that you actually want to complete. There are things that you actually want to participate in. We tire ourselves out doing the things that we don't actually want to do. That's the part that's tiring. That's the part that is exhausting. Okay. If you can figure out how to more efficiently do the things that you actually need to get done, whether that's the bigger things in your business, the creative parts, whatever it is, it's better to hire out somebody on the smaller end. It's better to find a way to kind of automate this as a system. There's a lot of AI systems and programs now that are working for people. So if that is something you haven't really figured out how to integrate into your life, literally just look it up, how to use AI with, and then like, what is your problem? Search that out, find the support, find a way to make that happen for yourself. Maybe it's like, I know it's everything from creating your grocery list to creating a workout program for you to planning your schedule for the week, right? Automate the things that can just be taken out of your hands, right? Now, if it's something that requires real people, then maybe, yeah, it means pony up and pay somebody else to do it. If you are a person that gets annoyed with the way people do things, figure out a really good example. Take the time to hire a real person. I know that sounds stressful, but in the long run, you are making your business or whatever it is you're creating work smoother and allowing yourself to take that stress out of your hands. You are taking that away from yourself so you can work better. Remember, we're talking quality, right? So no, you didn't fire off 45 emails today, but why did you want to? Like, why did you want to? Why was that the desire? Hey, you trying to figure out how to quit your job, girl? Because we can talk. But in all of this, remember that you are worth it, right? If you need more tips on how to become a yoga teacher, you need to figure out look it up, figure out videos, or watch people in the process, say the things, look up, hey, thank you. Look up other, like I said, videos, people's testimonials. I had a couple IGTV videos that, like, if you go back, you can check with people. Whenever it's a teacher, I always ask them how they got into it and how they feel about it. So feel free to participate in that. Take a look back and just listen through some of those questions, some of that conversation. And I mean, the biggest tip is just to practice. And this is literally with all of this stuff. It doesn't feel right at first. It doesn't feel right to hold a schedule when you are neurodivergent and you just don't feel good about that. And you grew up in a space where that was not supported. Or you may not want to really stick to your job because you grew up in a household where like your family had like odd jobs and just you're used to that type of life and like maybe but you can't get it together to be an entrepreneur. There's a lot of things there. There's a lot of pieces there you have to pull together. You have to be consistent with that. Um, if you are looking to just whatever the shift is you want in your life, you want to implement a yoga practice in your life, figure out when to do that. A lot of things that are holding you back are just scheduling issues. Figure out when to do that, figure out when you want that to happen. And allow yourself to just be consistent with showing up for yourself in that space, right? Just sitting on your mat, just being there, just listening to something, listening to a recording, listening to a meditation, like giving yourself the time and space to process, right? The example I just gave today, I won't tell too much about that, but like think about the concept of like coming home and sitting down, right? If you feel like you can come home and sit down, the problem that you had, it doesn't have to exist right in that moment, right? The thought processes, the stress, the whatever it was, it can wait for now. I got to sit down. Whew. And I can rest. I am allowed to rest. Even if it was heavy on my mind in that moment, like just, oh, my feet were tired though. And everybody knows that feeling, right? Everybody knows that feeling, even if it's not something you feel every single day, right? But what if you couldn't sit down and rest? One, no, thank you. And then two, what if yoga gives you the opportunity to sit down and rest no matter where you are? Even though that sounds weird, it's possible, right? That connection to self, connection to your breathing, connection to your body, all of those things that you learn. And like again, maybe it's not yoga. And I'm just biased, obviously, right? But maybe it's not yoga, maybe it's some other sort of practice, maybe it's a deeper meditation practice. Whatever that is for you, like you're allowed to have that. I just can't teach you everything in the world. I can only teach you yoga and confidence. But to take that time for yourself, to create the space in your life for this to consistently exist, every single time you are down, you know how to fill yourself up. Every single time you are empty, you know how to fill your cup. Every single time. Doesn't that sound like a great option to have all the time? But that's the consistency. Like if you don't do it, it won't happen. If you don't put in the work, the effort, the time, the scheduling, the whatever it may be, right? If you're not doing that, then you're asking to not go anywhere. That's hard to accept as well. I'm not saying you always need to be growing. You might be damn happy where you are. You are allowed to be that. I hope that you really are truly happy. But if you're not truly happy, if that's not really how you feel, then you deserve to put the energy into yourself to change that. I hope that makes sense. I don't want you to be hard on yourself. I don't want you to be down on yourself. I don't want you to think that this means, well, if I break my consistency, now I fall off the horse and I'm done. That is where I think we like really have these toxic conversations where it feels like, okay, so I like when everybody starts at the beginning of the year. I needed to hear this. Thank you so much. You are welcome. You are welcome. Right. But you know how everybody starts right at the top of the year. Happy New Year. We set our New Year's resolutions and the gym is packed for all of January. Right. And then as February comes along, the crowd thins, right? And we fall off of these things. And there's a lot of moments where people are like, well, I fell off. So I'm just going to start again next week. It's Tuesday. Nah. Tomorrow's a new day. Right? Like you could start like, sure, start a Monday, never miss a Monday. Maybe you miss a Monday. Oh, well, Start Tuesday, start Wednesday. Today is Thursday. Friday's a great day to start stuff. Saturday, a fantastic day to start something. If you say that that's what I want to do, right? Today is Thursday. Make your plan tomorrow. Start fresh Saturday. You ain't got to work. You can relax. You can go shopping appropriately. Whatever it requires, whatever you need requires, take the time to do that because you deserve it, because you're allowed to want better for yourself, right? And that's the thing where I feel like people, I mentioned this earlier and I tie it back and then we're going to wrap it up. But when you speak about yourself negatively, you are calling in nothing good. You're calling in all the bad. You're not calling in your growth. You're not calling in your progress. None of it. You're only calling in bad things. If you speak to yourself like, well, I'm this and I'm always going to be this, or I was never that and nobody ever supported me being this and all that. Okay, well, you're only asking for more negativity. You're only pouring more negativity into yourself. If you take that space and you say, you know what? I have never been this, but I'm gonna figure it out. I have never seen this, and I'm gonna make it happen. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, everything I do and everything I say is manifesting my millions. Okay, and that's not something I've seen in my life. I grew up poor and in the hood. Here I am. I've gone up and changed my space in life, and I've changed who I am and my outlook and all that. We did not do yoga in Jamaica, Queens when I was a child, but I taught it when I started teaching and I brought it there and I will keep teaching and preaching this forever. If there is something that you want to change, you have the ability to change it. It doesn't have to be that you are the next this tomorrow. Today is only today. One of the conversations that I had with my old co-teacher from my last year of teaching, she and I were both leaving the classroom and she was like, oh my God, Stacia, I'm so jealous. Like you have this business and you know what you're going to do. And I'm just starting out fresh again. And like, she's a little younger than me, so she has some time and she's doing fantastically. Thank you. Hey, thank you. And right, like, she's like, oh, you're doing so good. And like, I'm jealous. Like I'm just starting out. I have to start fresh. And like, she went into IT. She's about to make six figures. She's good. So she said, but she had to do like a year-long training program, etc. And I was like, listen, you don't have to be jealous because I've been pouring into this for years now. I've been working, like I said, working all day at school and then after school teaching yoga. And then I started doing this and doing brand partnerships and doing podcast interviews and this and that. And now I teach retreats. Like there was so much that I had to add to my plate to make this happen. I had to be in that space that I talked about earlier. I had to be in the I'ma pour everything out space. And like I said, I'm from the hood. I'm used to this. That's fine. I've got to work twice as hard to get half as much. I'm used to all of that kind of conversation, right? I'm just also, as an adult Stacia, this level of my life, Stacia, is letting that go. And I'm going to say, you know what? Everything that I pour into is manifesting the greatest good for me. And I feel that that was always true because I was always working and I was always building. But the scarcity mindset versus the mindset of grace, the mindset of like growth and abundance and all of that, right? Like the difference in that, I'm not scrimping and scrounging trying to make sure that I make it. I've made it. I'm going to continue to make it. Nothing is stopping me from making it but me, and I'm not going to stand in my own way. And sometimes that means that I need to sit down and I need to put it down and relax. I need to be able to let myself breathe it out, to not be frustrated, to not go overboard, to not do anything crazy, and just say, you know what? This is a hill that I'm climbing and there's a reason for this and I will be better the next time and there's growth. I always believe there's a reason. And if I can't articulate it in that moment, that means it has to come to me and I still have to learn from it. And I'm okay with that. And that's how I feel about that. But the matter of being consistent, right? As I said, I'm tired. Hey. I'm tired. Today was a long day. There was a lot of words said. There was a lot of conversation had. There was a lot of development that happened. And it was great. And it was fantastic conversation. But that's mentally exhausting. And so here I am in a space where I'm like, oh, this is great, but I'm damn tired. And I thank you. I thank all of you that have been here to have this conversation with me. I am live every Thursday. If you don't see me on YouTube or TikTok, that means that I have a guest with me and I'm on Instagram. So every Thursday, please make sure you check my Instagram. Make sure you're following me everywhere. I am Thick Thigh Yoga everywhere. If you are looking to start your yoga journey, go to my YouTube channel. Yes, I have a YouTube channel. Yes, it is beginner friendly. Yes, beginner friendly. Yes, just sit on the floor and start moving with me friendly. Okay. Take the warm up. It's a half an hour. Give it a shot. If you're ready to try classes, I teach classes every Tuesday and Saturday. Not this Saturday. We're going to the beach. I'm going to just let you know. But I teach classes live on Zoom. I have memberships for playback sessions. If you've taken my classes on YouTube and you say, you know what, yes, I do want to get more of that practice. I have a playback subscription where you pay to every month. It just a recurring subscription. You get access to all the recordings that I have available on my website that you can play them back at your leisure. Get the sessions that make sense for your body. Do the practice at your own time, right? Like I have an old client who will forever be a member because she likes to do her practice at 6 a.m. and Stacia does not teach at 6 a.m. If you want me at 6 a.m., it's really going to cost you. Okay. So instead, she is a member. She plays the videos when she wants to play them, morning, noon, night, whatever. Right. And this is just an example. You can do this. You can come to classes live and get the playback sessions. That's up to you. I have options. And if you're really looking for more, if you are really looking to have a conversation with me about your confidence or your yoga business, set up a coaching call. I would love to talk to you. There's plenty to learn and share and discuss. And I would love to discuss it with you. I'd love to grow with you. I'd love to talk to you. I love connecting with people that know me online, right? I see I have Lily from Instagram is now on YouTube. And like, I love you being in the different places. I love connecting with you, but I love really talking to you one-on-one. I love getting to know you and understanding your experiences. I love the feeling of having a conversation with someone and acknowledging that this might be the first time they have felt heard in months, maybe years. And we don't know each other, but I can provide that space for you because I do understand where you're coming from. This is why I say, if my content resonates with you, please share it, because then there's a lesson for somebody else as well. If it means something to you, it means something to them too. It could mean something to them too. Okay. Where are you located in person? I am in Florida. I do in-person one-on-one sessions in Florida, Central Florida. I'm in Orlando. But if you're looking for online, I teach online private sessions globally. Obviously, we find a time that makes sense for us and we make it work. So if you are interested in that, you can go to my website, check out my schedule, thickthighyoga.com. I am Thick Thigh Yoga absolutely everywhere. And I don't mean this to sound as harsh as it sounds, but I know it sounds harsh. Okay. If you want to know what a class with me is like, go to YouTube and try it. If you want to know what a shorter session with me is like, go to YouTube and try it. I have tutorials there. I have individual poses. I have a whole beginner series. I have a half an hour beginner warm up. I have a couple examples of what my hour-long classes are like. There are a lot of things there that I already provide and offer for free if you want to figure it out before you get to the space of spending money, before you're like, I don't know, I'm not sure, I'm not ready to dive in. There's examples for you. And if you don't want to try it, you don't have to lie to anyone about wanting to try it. That's the part that kind of sounds harsh. If you don't want to try it, you don't have to want to try it. If you don't want to try it, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to love yoga. Yoga doesn't have to be the thing to change your life. I would love for it to be. And if you want to work with me, you will be doing yoga. But if that's not it for you and you just like having these conversations, you like learning about it, you like then fine, great. Do me a favor and share this anyway. Share the information anyway, because somebody you know probably really does want to know, probably does want to participate in it. And how glorious would it be for you to be the conveyor belt for that to happen in their lives? Okay. So that is what I have for today's live. I want you to be consistent. I want you to trust yourself to be consistent. I want you to be aware enough of yourself to find what helps you pour into you. Find what makes you feel good about yourself. Find what fuels your creativity, fuels your quality, right? Instead of relying on the concept of just running yourself ragged. Mm-mm. You could do that. We don't want to. Okay? Hey. Thank you so much for being here. I am Thick Thigh Yoga. I am Seisha. Like I said, I would love for you to book a session. We should talk. I would love to get to know you, learn a little bit about you, and we can really make some growth. I think that would be great. I will see you next Thursday. I have a special guest. You'll hear more about that very, very soon. If you have questions, I'm going to put this in my IGTV so you can play it back. I'm also live on YouTube now. So as soon as I end it, it will upload. So if you want to review this or any other Thick Thigh Thursday, any other live, you can do that in both of those places. And I will see you next Thursday. Make sure you're tuned in. Bye.